Yeah, glad to have you on board and glad to have you here for our Success podcast. Can you just kind of tell me a little bit about like your story, your background, how you kind of got started with construction?
Sure. So, my background is that my dad is a carpenter, my uncle is a painter, and my other uncle's a roofer. And so, growing up, we grew up in the field. You know, homework was in the field. We probably wore a tool belt at the age of 5. Uh, we were the free labor around the job site. Cleaning was like our number one job every day when we were done homework. And then, sooner as we got older, we learned how to drywall, paint, um, install roofs, stuff like that.
Wow. And when you did find us originally, like we've been working together for a couple months now.
hmm
What did your company look like? I guess like what was your original reason for wanting to look for like a new form of marketing?
So we don't market. We haven't done any marketing at all. We've always been word of mouth. So we finish a job and 3 other people would call us, or while we're doing that job, we'd get three other leads. So we never really did any marketing whatsoever. So reaching out to you was to kind of start doing marketing for our company.
And I mean, how's it been going so far? Like how much revenue, how many jobs have you locked up since we started?
So we've locked up one, which we just won, which turned to be, ended up being 800K.
800,000
Yeah. Yeah.
for one job?
Yep, for one job. Yep.
Wow. I mean, that's like really big, right? I
Yep.
mean, for I think most people's standards. Some people like that's what they do the entire year, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So,
We're very excited about this project. We're in the design phase now, but we're excited about it.
uh, how did that happen? So, 800,000 for one job, like, what's the scope of the work?
So we are going to be digging out an existing first floor. We're going to dig it out. The basement. We're going to dig. There's no basement under this first floor. We're going to dig it out 10 feet, and then we're going to add on to the side of their house, 18 feet by um, 18 feet, 2 stories high onto the side of the house. So we also will be digging out the basement, so to be a basement and first floor. So overall, it'll be roughly about 3,500 square feet that we'll be adding on to his existing
I
house.
mean, how big is the house if the addition is just 3,500 square feet? Because that's like already a house in itself, right?
Yeah, so the house is probably a $2 million home. When we looked it up, it was a $2 million home. So it's probably 3,500 square feet alone by
So you're basically building a house on top of the house or like
yeah,
next to it.
exactly.
So how do you even go about winning a job like that? Because a lot of the guys that are probably watching this, they 3,500 square foot addition for 800,000 is something that, they have never worked on before or would want to eventually get up to. So we put you in front of that customer, but how did you build enough trust for them to actually, work with you at that point? Because like I think at a certain scale and for a certain size job, it's no longer about the money. It's more about like, can you get it done properly, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you, Nick, working with a lot of clients. This client in particular was, I could tell that, he had talked to several contractors before me. He had a lot of ideas. It was one of those projects where he's lived in the house for the past 8 years. It's always been on his mind to do this project, and he just put it off, put it off, put it off. And so I guess this was the year where he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this year, and I'm gonna find the right person to do it." Um, so when I met him, he was very he had a lot of questions, and I just answered all his questions, and we had meetings. He would call randomly during the day. I would always answer his call. Um, he had questions. I would answer them immediately. One of the things that we do when we go out to see a new project is we put a lot of money up front where we're doing like zoning analysis. So when someone needs addition, a lot of times zoning will tell you you can't add that addition or you have setbacks around your property that a lot of homeowners are unaware of. So to be realistic, in the beginning, we put in probably like $2,500 to do the zoning analysis to confirm that he could actually do this addition. And I don't think anybody else that he was talking with, as a matter of fact, he told me like no one else has done this for me.
Mm.
And no one's put this much time into, and I call people, they don't answer their phone, they're not always available. Something that I do when I meet new clients is make sure I'm available because I know sometimes 8 o'clock at night, they're like, hey, I have this question, it pops in their head. So I even answer my calls then. Um,
So you think it sounds like it's like about availability, but also about like showing that you're committed, and also if you're willing to put that much money into a zoning analysis that you've done it before, I trust you at that point.
right.
And as if he's been thinking about this job for so many years, it seems like the advertisement just kind of got in front of him at the perfect time.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, he's been so far, it's a great client. I can't say that every client we meet is going to be awesome as him or ready to go, but he's definitely, he definitely has, an eager to get going. Um, and he's ready to get this project going as fast as possible.
yeah, and uh, I guess going back to when we originally did decide to work together, what was if you could go all the way back then, I'm sure it was you were a little bit skeptical in the beginning, right? I think you told me you've worked
Absolutely.
with a couple other marketing companies before. They promised
Yep.
you something and it wasn't what you were expecting to happen. So I guess what was if you could go back to that moment, there's probably a lot of people that are like on the fence and you just decided to try just because you felt like, maybe what we do is a little bit different, it's worth trying. But I guess what would you say to somebody that's kind of in that similar position where maybe they tried marketing before, it didn't work out for their construction company, but I guess like what would you say to them?
Well, I would say there's a lot of you guys out there, Nick. You know, there's a lot of you guys doing marketing. Great pitch. We're not really sure. For someone who doesn't do marketing or has never done marketing before, we're not really sure who to use. So, you know, it's same thing as for me is it's about personalities. It's about talking to you. It's about how you're responding to me. It's about how you're answering my questions. I did have a company before. I was not very impressed with them. Angie's leads were horrible. Um, and you know, I, when I met you, I've met three other people about marketing. Um, they were kind of like fast money kind of schemes. It seemed like, you know, a lot of money up front. Um, we'll generate all these leads, but you know, are the leads good leads? You know, so I like that when you and I were talking and working through our lead generation, that you were able to implement some questions for homeowners to make sure that we're not just going out to give estimates, that these are actually real people who really want to get work done. And they don't have to be right now. It could be in 3 months. It could be in 6 months, but they're actually people who want to get work done, not just looking for an estimate to see what something would cost.
Yeah, because I think you told me this other marketing company was getting you a lot of like really small like handyman work and like service calls,
Yeah, and it's
which
not, no,
but
we
you're an
don't even,
established company, right? You've been doing this for a long time.
yeah, we don't even really provide those services. We just don't have a handyman person just available. If you think about it, if I'm paying my carpenters $30 an hour.
So you've been doing construction for a long time. I know it, people kind of look at like the overnight success stories, but it's never the case, right? There's so much work that goes on behind the scenes. Like you're answering the phone at 8 p.m. at night just because you
Right.
want to be responsive and you want to be the one that wins the project. So,
Right.
like, what would you say to like, because some of the general contractors that might be watching this, maybe they've never worked on a job that's that big before, and they want to start getting in front of those types of people. So, well, like, what are some tips that you can maybe give inside the home? Like, because for example, like a 3,500 square foot addition, that's something that I think you need to be able to visualize, right? If you're writing an $800,000 check, like you want to know what's actually going to be the end result, you know?
Yeah, so working with clients, I mean, I will tell people that most importantly, you need to pay attention. A lot of contractors go in with like their own mind and own thought of what the client's actually saying and what they can do to the project. And my goal is just to listen to what they're saying and achieve what they wanted. And if anything, if I achieve more than what they wanted, it's great. But I at least try to hit that goal of where they want to be. And visually talking with him when we were walking through the space, he would tell me like, this is what I want, this is what I want. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, oh, okay, I see. You want to push this side of the basement out, but not this side. Like you want to be clear with the client that you comprehend and you understand exactly what they're saying. Cause like in our meeting, he was like, oh, you actually visually see what I'm trying to say. Like,
Mhm.
like I could tell that that was like something that people are not listening to him when he's telling them what they can do, what he wants them to do.
So you
So,
were the first one that probably talked less than he did,
right.
right? Like, because like a lot of contractors are, I mean, they're kind of, hate to say like arrogant, like they go in there with projecting their ideas on the customer, but
Right.
you know, he had his ideas, which, who knows if it's like the most economic, like, the best way to do it, but it's what he
Right.
wanted for his home.
Yeah, and I would say you can definitely say as a contractor, like, look, you know, 8 feet might be achievable in your basement, but not 10. Or hey, you want 10 feet? Well, we might have to move a sewer line, or we might have to move your gas line coming in. And it's like, oh, okay, fine. So, but it just, it adds the value to that you understand what you're doing and the repercussions of going 10 feet. So, when we're on the job, we go 10 feet and we come across a sewer line, like, oh man, that's the main sewer. Now we have to drop this sewer line, or maybe we have to raise the sewer line. So that's just knowledge that we're giving the client that, is great knowledge for them to have and their understanding. So later when you're in the field and you hit that pipe, they're like, oh yeah, you said, we might hit it, you know. And it's a change order. And a lot of times clients don't like change orders, but
A change order, that's like the dirty word
yeah,
and the horror word in construction,
right.
right? No one wants to hear that. No homeowner wants to hear change order.
Right. But if
So
that client decides to go 10 feet instead of 8, they know the possibilities. I like to for my clients to know the gray areas. And I don't think a lot of contractors go in with saying what the gray areas are because they feel like it could kind of impede on the sale. I could have sold that job at $500,000 and then change order them to 800. But what is that going to do for me?
mm.
And long-term business, is that going to give me another recommendation from him? Absolutely not.
And,
Uh,
and I guess like, what does the future look like for you? Because this one project, I mean, it's one of the biggest projects that anyone's closed with us this so far this year. Uh, but I think you probably have a couple more that are brewing, right? So, do you have any other projects that are kind of you're working on, or any other jobs in
yeah.
the pipeline that you kind of yeah,
Yeah, we have like 5 projects that we're still trying to close. We have one that's a total renovation in Baltimore. It's about 130 grand. We have a basement job that's about 40 grand. Um, we have another addition that's 90. It's a 1-story addition. It's about 90 grand. Um, so we're trying to close those projects along with the project that we just won.
got it. Um, and I guess like what would be your final words? Because uh, I think at the end of the day, I think you can tell like we genuinely do care that the people that we work with are getting good results.
Right.
And so if there's any contractors kind of thinking about joining our quote magnet program, but they're just kind of like right there on the fence, um, like I guess what would you say to them?
I would say it's kind of like a relationship. You gotta give Nick a chance and you gotta follow, you gotta give positive feedback. You gotta stay the course and I wouldn't say it's like a fast turnaround. But it's definitely, you gotta stay the course and you gotta keep getting out there and you gotta keep trying and marketing will pay off, once you hit that first sale. It all comes clean at the end.
Yeah,
And I think for a lot of us, small businesses, we put a lot of money out there for marketing and you don't see a return is pretty sad, but you got to stay the course with Nick and he'll get you through it.
well, Antoinette, I really appreciate it. And thanks for taking the time. So.
Yeah, no worries.